Let's dive into one of the biggest dilemmas in the hotel business. A massive group wants to book a huge chunk of your rooms. Now, on the surface, that sounds incredible, right? A guaranteed full house. But here's the twist. Saying yes to that booking could actually end up losing you money. So we're going to break down the hidden math behind that decision.
Okay, picture this. An email pops into your inbox. It's a request for 200 rooms a night for 3 whole nights. That is 600 room nights of guaranteed cash. It's a no-brainer. You take it, right? Well, maybe not. Because accepting that one big group might force you to turn away dozens of other guests who would have happily paid a much, much higher price.
So, how do we figure this all out? Well, here's our game plan. We'll start by looking at the core dilemma. Then, we'll get into the nitty-gritty of calculating the real cost of saying yes. After that, we'll figure out our break-even rate, and this is the important part. We'll talk about how to use that number to make a smarter decision, not just an easier one.
At its heart, this is a classic business tug-of-war. On one side, you've got the safety and security of a huge, confirmed booking. That's guaranteed revenue in the bank. But on the other side, you've got all this potential profit from individual travelers. We call them transient guests in the industry, who might have booked those exact same rooms, probably for a lot more money.
And this really is the whole problem in a nutshell. It's called displacement. See, every single room you give to this group is a room you can't sell to anybody else. So the million-dollar question becomes, is the total value of this group going to be higher than the business you're kicking to the curb?
All right, let's get down to brass tacks. Let's talk money. To make the right call here, we have to put everything on a scale and see which way it tips. We need to weigh exactly what we're gaining against what we're losing. So on the cost side of our scale, we have what's called the displaced contribution. That's just a fancy way of saying all the profit you're giving up from those individual travelers you now have to turn away. But on the revenue side, we have the additional contribution. And this is key. It's the profit you make from everything else the group buys. Think food, drinks, conference rooms, audiovisual equipment, the whole shebang.
Okay, theory is great and all, but let's make this real. We're going to walk through a case study step by step to see exactly how a revenue manager would figure out if this group is a good deal, and more importantly, at what price.
So here are the numbers for our little scenario. Our hotel has 500 rooms total. The group wants 200 of them for 3 nights. And we've already got some bookings on the books, or BOB, as we call it, for each of those nights.
Okay, this is where the rubber meets the road. Let's just add the group's request on top of what we already have. Now, look at day 2 and day 3, we're fine, right? 400 rooms, 300 rooms, plenty of space. But look at day 1. We had 350 rooms booked, we had the group's 200, and whoops, our forecast is now 550 rooms for a 500-room hotel. We have a problem.
And that number, 50, is everything. We are 50 rooms over our capacity on that critical first night. That means if we take this group, we literally have to turn away 50 potential guests. That right there, that is the cost of saying yes.
And this little light bulb moment is the foundation for our entire calculation. The profit we make from this group, from all 200 rooms, has to, at the absolute bare minimum, be enough to make up for the profit we're about to lose from those 50 other guests.
Okay, now for the fun part, the math. We're going to use this displacement number, those 50 rooms, to calculate the absolute, rock-bottom, break-even price we can offer this group for their rooms.
First things first, let's calculate our total lost profit. We take our 50 displaced rooms and multiply them by the profit we would have made on each one. So let's say our average individual guest pays 200 euros and it costs us 30 euros to clean the room. That's a profit of 170 euros per room. Multiply that by 50 rooms and we get a total lost profit, or displaced contribution, of 8,500 euros.
Now let's look at the other side of the equation. What are we gaining? Well, this group is spending a cool 15,000 euros on food and drinks, which gives us 11,000 euros in profit. They're also spending 2,500 euros on AV, which adds another 1,750 to our bottom line. All in all, the group is bringing in an extra 12,750 euros of profit, completely separate from the rooms.
So let's put it all together. We started in a hole of 8,500 euros. The group's extra spending gave us 12,750 euros. So when you balance those two out, we end up with a negative number, negative 4,250 euros.
Now hang on a second, what does a negative contribution needed even mean? It looks a little weird, I know, but believe it or not, this is the key to the whole thing.
It's fantastic news.
A negative number means that the profit we're making from just their food and AV spending has already completely wiped out the €8,500 loss from those displaced guests. In fact, we're already ahead. So to get our final break-even price, we just do two simple things. We take that extra €4,250 and spread it out across all 600 rooms the group is booking. Then, we just have to add back our €30 cost to actually service the room.
And there it is, €23. That is our magic number. It's the absolute lowest price we can charge per room. If we charge €23, we've covered all our variable costs, and we've covered the lost profit from the guests we turned away. Anything above €23 is pure profit.
So we have our number. We did the math, but we are not done yet, not by a long shot. Because the math is just the beginning, now the strategy takes over.
So the big question is, do we actually walk up to this group and offer them a room rate of €23 a night? No, absolutely positively not. And this right here is probably the most important takeaway from this whole explainer. The number we just calculated is your floor. It is your secret weapon. It tells you how low you can go in a negotiation if you absolutely have to. It is not the price you should offer.
See, a really smart revenue manager uses this break-even rate as just one tool in their toolbox. They're also going to be thinking about things like, does this group have a history of no-shows? How far out are they booking? What's their total potential spend? Are they a business group that might come back? All of these things matter.
So in the end, this whole calculation doesn't just give you the answer. It gives you the power and the confidence to find the right answer. It turns what could be a wild guess into a data-driven strategy. So I'll leave you with this thought. You know your absolute floor is €23. The question is, what's your opening offer going to be?